What just happened on AEW Dynamite? Seriously, if you tuned in last week, you probably saw it. And if you missed it, you're about to get the full picture. Mercedes Moné, one of the biggest stars in all of AEW, was eliminated in the very first round of the Women's Tag Team Title Tournament. And before you freak out or start questioning everything, let me tell you, this wasn't a mistake. It wasn't some random booking fluke. There was a reason behind it, and by the end of this video, you might just agree with me. On paper, this week's Dynamite was supposed to be another step forward for AEW's inaugural Women's Tag Team Championship tournament. One match, in particular, looked like it was going to be a complete formality. On one side, you had the powerhouse duo of Mercedes Moné, the reigning TBS champion, paired with Athena, the Raw Women's champion. These were two of the top athletes in the company, two proven champions. Two women who could easily steamroll almost anyone in the division. On the other side, you had a newly formed team, Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron, who together go by the name Babes of Wrath, not exactly the team most fans expected to make a huge splash in the tournament. Everyone watching probably assumed Moné and Athena would cruise to victory. I mean, you have two established champions facing a team that's just learning to gel. It seemed like a foregone conclusion. But AEW had a different plan, one that shocked fans across the board. Before we get into how it all went down, let's set the stage a little more. This tournament isn't just a few matches for fun, it's the foundation for AEW's new women's tag team division. You can't just have it dominated by the same singles champions. If that happened, there'd be no space to build new stars or create real storylines in the division. Earlier in the tournament, on the October 29th episode of Dynamite, we already saw a big upset when Julia Hart and Sky Blue defeated the fan-favorite team of Queen Aminata and the returning Jamie Hayter. That victory set up one side of the bracket, but the other side, the Moné and Athena match, was where things really got interesting. Fans expected another star-studded semi-final, a match that would be stacked with talent. Instead, what unfolded was pure chaos. As the match began, it wasn't long before the action escalated beyond anyone's expectations. There was wrestling, of course, but also interference, quick thinking, and moments that completely shifted momentum in an instant. Athena's protege, Billie Starrs, tried to step in to give her team an edge, attempting to create a legal advantage. But before she could really do anything, Chris Statlander ran down and hit a massive clothesline, taking her completely out of the equation. This wasn't just a moment of luck, it was the first domino in a sequence that would lead to the tournament's biggest upset. With Athena distracted, the Babes of Wrath saw their opportunity, and they didn't hesitate. Willow Nightingale, who has held the TBS title in her own right, seized the moment. She hoisted Athena up and slammed her down with a powerbomb that could have rocked anyone. The crowd was on their feet, the tension was palpable, and Mercedes Moné was left scrambling, trying to regain control. But before she could react, Harley Cameron followed up with her finishing maneuver and pinned Athena for the 1-2-3. Just like that, Moné and Athena were eliminated from the tournament, and the Babes of Wrath celebrated what was nothing short of a shocking victory. If you were watching, you probably saw Moné standing on the apron, stunned, almost as if she couldn't believe what had just happened. Athena looked equally shocked, and the energy in the arena shifted completely. Fans were buzzing, social media was exploding, and suddenly, a team that nobody expected to go far in the tournament had become legitimate threats. But why would AEW make such a bold move? Why have arguably their two biggest female stars lose so early? The answer is surprisingly simple. They had no choice. AEW can't build a tag team division if the only teams that matter are just two singles champions teaming up. That wouldn't create intrigue, it wouldn't elevate new talent, and it wouldn't give fans reason to follow the division long term. By booking the Babes of Wrath to win, AEW accomplishes multiple objectives. First, it immediately positions Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron as credible contenders. No longer are they just a new team trying to find their footing, they are a team that beats some of the best in the business. Second, and just as important, Mercedes Moné is protected. She didn't take the pin, so her singles dominance remains intact. Fans don't see her losing momentum. Instead, they see her focused on other major storylines. While a new team rises in the tag division, it's also worth considering Moné's incredibly busy schedule. She's not just appearing in AEW, she's competing across multiple promotions, collecting titles, defending championships, and continuing to build her legacy. Asking her to dominate the tag team tournament, chase the women's championship, and juggle other commitments simultaneously would have been far too much. The logical outcome would be burnout, storylines that feel rushed, and divisions that get bogged down because too much depends on one superstar. By taking her out of this tournament early, AEW ensures that Moné can remain a central figure in the company without overextending herself. From a storytelling perspective, this move makes complete sense. It's a long-term play that protects star power while simultaneously elevating new talent. Think about it. The Babes of Wrath now have momentum. The crowd is invested in them, and their upcoming semi-final against Julia Hart and Sky Blue is completely unpredictable. Either team could advance to the finals, and that uncertainty is exactly what keeps fans glued to their screens. The narrative now feels alive. Fans are talking, speculating, and genuinely wondering who will come out on top. That's the kind of tension a tournament needs. It's also a subtle but important reminder that Moné is not invincible. Sometimes, the best way to tell a story is to have a star lose in a way that doesn't diminish them but instead makes the division stronger. Fans may be shocked, but the bigger picture is clear. This loss sets the stage for bigger victories down the line. It preserves the integrity of Moné's singles run while allowing AEW to build stars who can carry the tag division forward. In other words, this isn't a failure at strategic planning. Looking ahead, the Babes of Wrath will face Julia Hart and Sky Blue in the semifinals. That matchup now carries so much weight because it's impossible to predict a clear winner. Either team could advance, and each outcome sets up a completely different dynamic for the finals. The tension, the stakes, the excitement, it's all elevated by the unexpected upset from last week. Fans who were maybe lukewarm on the Babes of Wrath now have a reason to tune in and invest emotionally. And for Mercedes Moné fans, there's no reason to panic. She's still dominating her singles division. She's still a top-tier athlete, and her path to major championship matches remains wide open. Of course, speculation about Full Gear and the Women's Championship is inevitable. Will Moné walk out of Full Gear as the Women's Champion? Honestly, it's hard to see that happening immediately. AEW's booking suggests that her focus will remain on her singles titles and other storylines before she gets another shot at the women's division's biggest prize. Expect a carefully managed build toward that match in the coming months. Even if she doesn't win the title right away, the narrative sets her up for a meaningful victory down the line, keeping fans engaged and invested in her journey. In the end, what this all shows is that AEW is thinking long-term. They're not just booking for this week or even the next month. They're crafting a narrative that protects star power, elevates new talent, and keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. By having Moné and Athena eliminated early, they've created opportunities for fresh storylines, new rivalries, and high-stakes matches that feel important. It's a smart move when you consider the bigger picture. So don't view this as a loss for Moné or Athena. It's a strategic decision that benefits everyone involved. The Babes of Wrath gain credibility, the tournament gains unpredictability, and Moné remains a dominant singles star without overextension. AEW fans can enjoy a women's tag team division that finally feels alive, competitive, and worth following week after week. Now here's the real question for you. Did AEW make the right call by eliminating Mercedes Moné and Athena so early in the tournament? Or was it a mistake that risks Moné's star power? The answer isn't as simple as it seems. On one hand, it's a bold decision that shakes up the tournament and builds excitement. On the other, some fans may worry that early eliminations hurt the perception of their favorite stars. But in reality, the decision creates more opportunities than it closes. It's a risk that pays off in unpredictability and narrative potential. And as we continue to follow this tournament, keep an eye on the semifinals. Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron are riding high, but Julia Hart and Sky Blue aren't pushovers. Any outcome here changes the finals dramatically, and that unpredictability is exactly what AEW needs for a successful inaugural tag team division. Meanwhile, Mercedes Moné continues her journey in singles competition, defending her TBS title, making appearances across promotions, and keeping her momentum alive for bigger, more high-profile matches later this year.